So it's not just, oh, she's irrational or, oh, she's crazy and maybe in some cases, women are because they haven't taken ownership over their body and prioritized their temple, their body. And so, yes, all of these things would be ignited 10 times more if you're not taking care of your body. If you are taking care of your body and you want to learn how to train to optimize your cycles and what nutrition can support you during those cycles, that's basically what we're talking about today.
Welcome to Elevated Life, Real Wellness and Transformation Podcast, where we walk alongside the internally driven individual as they transform their life through wellness, movement, mindset, and personal responsibility. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's jump in.
This one might be geared a little bit more toward our female audience, but there is something valuable for everybody. So today we are talking about a woman's cycle, specifically around how it relates to nutrition and fitness, training, exercise, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Am I correct in that?
Good job, sir.
All right.
Clint was nervous about how he was going to open this podcast because we are talking about women have a 28-day cycle.
Just to be clear on something from the get-go, I'm not nervous about that concept. I get that.
I hope you get it.
Anyway, yeah.
So anyway, I thought it would be really wise to kind of dig into this because noticing in myself and training women, it's like sometimes you're super strong, sometimes you're super weak, sometimes you're more tired, sometimes you're more hungry. And I just thought that we would just kind of do an overview of this 28-day cycle that's broken down into basically 4 phases, with one of the phases kind of broken up into 2 phases. Men, if that confuses you, then welcome to womanhood, because it freaking confuses us as well. So,
and I will say too, for the fellas listening, this is a lot of valuable information to, one, just to understand what the hell is going on with the women in your lives, but 2, also to be more in tune with it and realize these are actual physiological things that are going on.
Yeah.
It isn't just, a woman's on her period for a couple days and then, whatever, here we go again next month kind of a thing. This is a legitimate, these phases happen throughout the whole month. And so if you're at least aware of them, then like I said, you can be more in tune with the women in your lives.
absolutely. I mean, men are on a 24-hour kind of cycle. And like I said earlier, women are on a 28-day cycle with hormones going all different directions in each one of the 4 phases, with one of the phases having 2 phases. Right? So it's not just, oh, she's irrational or, oh, she's crazy and maybe in some cases, women are because they haven't taken ownership over their body and prioritized their temple, their body. And so, yes, all of these things would be ignited 10 times more if you're not taking care of your body. If you are taking care of your body and you want to learn how to train to optimize your cycles and what nutrition can support you during those cycles, that's basically what we're talking about today. So should we jump in?
Absolutely.
All right. So like I said earlier, women have 4 different phases. The first phase is the menstrual phase, which lasts 1 to 5 days. The follicular phase is 6 to 12. Ovulation is 13 to 15. And the luteal phase is 16 to 28 days, but it's broken down into 2 parts, which is 16 to 21, 22 to 28. Now, saying that, everyone is different, right? We're not all the same. Some women are going to feel huge shifts. And I would say in my experience, as you age, you feel these shifts more. But now that women's periods are all over the place, starting at a very young age, that could be different now. Wasn't really like that when I was a kid. You had maybe the one friend that had, like a super heavy period, but mostly, and maybe we just didn't talk about it. That could be the other thing. So anyway, it's important because we have been taught, ladies, to grind like men, ignore the signals that our body is giving us. And really, we're just fighting against our biology, right? How we were made and created. So the menstrual phase should last for a healthy menstrual cycle about 5 days. And estrogen and progesterone are low. Inflammation is high. You've got iron loss. And your nervous system is more sensitive, right? This is why things affect you more. So for the male listener, this is biology, right? Things are going to affect female more during this time. So what you can expect, which, most women are going to listen to this and be like, yeah, duh. And I'm just going to give a few side effects, I guess. But go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, but this is the most obvious, I would think,
For
of
sure.
the phases for both men and women listening. Like, we get this one.
Right. But it's important to just know, right? I mean, obviously you're going to have low energy, which is important to know in your training. Okay. That's why I want to make that one clear. Cramping, fatigue, nausea. I mean, mentally though, you're naturally going inward and slower and more reflective. So all of these phases for you are who you are. I really want to verbalize that. It's not like I'm crazy because I'm on my period. No, this is your intuition is even higher when you're on your period than at other times. But don't toss yourself out during this time, ladies. Lean into yourself. So how to train when you're on your period? Reduce the intensity. There is no need to push through some grindy workout and work against your body. This is a really good time to focus on your form, your technique, mobility, lift lighter, like it's 60 to 70%, higher reps, slow down, right? Isometrics, we've talked about that. Body weight. What? Okay, sorry. Clint wanted to say something during this podcast and I said it for him. Just body weight stuff. Yoga, walking, right? It doesn't mean that you can't lift heavy, but you're naturally going to be more tired.
And it's such a great opportunity that's essentially forced on you because, this is going to happen. You're going to be in this phase every month. And so trying something new like isometrics, like you mentioned, because it naturally just feels like, well, this isn't going to do anything. Isometrics, for just quick overview for people that don't know, basically you're just getting to a certain point, like just coming out of a squat from down in the hole, you're just coming out, and then you just hold it. Hold it for 30 seconds, hold it for a minute if you can, but you're just getting to basically the hard part of a lift and just holding it. Yeah. And it initially feels like that seems pointless. Try it.
Yeah, I try to sit in a squat for a minute or do a chest fly, wide open at 60% of your weight. I mean, it's difficult.
It's such a cool built-in opportunity to try those other things and work it into your regular programming.
Totally. And, a lot of people get sick of doing the same lifts. We hear all the time, just do the same things, which is so true. And we spout that too. This is a really good opportunity to, okay, maybe I'm going to do my same lifts, but I'm going to lift lighter and I'm going to hold the isometric, hold. Yep. So Okay, so this is not, though, this is not a do nothing phase. Okay, I really want to, push that because I know that when there are certain days on my period, specifically my second and third day, I want to do nothing. But this is a really good opportunity to just do something, right? You can do some light walking, some yoga. Don't just sit around because that feeds into the kind of feeling. So nutritionally, I want you to support yourself with iron-rich foods. So if you're a carnivore, this is a great time to, have steak. Spinach is high in iron. You can go on the internet and see what else is high in iron. Dark chocolate, leafy greens, bone broth, berries, salmon, electrolytes. So, I know there's a lot of electrolyte drinks out there on the market. Clint, what else could a woman consume that so I can have a drink of water since this is woman heavy podcast?
So I should filibuster a little bit on this one. Sea salt, Celtic sea salt, Baja Gold sea salt. We've done, we talk a lot about salt. We've done podcasts about them. We're probably due to do another podcast about them.
Yeah.
But just simple salt, whether you want to mix it in, drink it in water, put a pinch, or like Jonna does, just eat it.
Yeah, I just
pinch.
toss it down my throat and drink it down like I would take a supplement.
Yeah, it's nature's electrolyte.
It is.
And then you avoid all the other garbage that's in so many other, sports drinks.
Right. So stay away from processed food. This is only going to make you feel more like garbage, right? But really, I'm talking to the person who already stays away from processed food. So also, this is not a time to. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, spoiler alert. At no point in this 28-day cycle are we going to advocate for eating processed food.
Or in any cycle. That's just not what we're doing.
Yeah.
So this is also not a time for those of you who are really into the counting everything. This is not a time to undereat. Ladies, we undereat. I don't want to say more, just as much as we overeat. We undereat. We get so dogmatic in the count all the macros and blah, blah, blah. When our biology is craving more, just choose better foods, right? Like I said, iron-rich foods, vegetables, healthy fats, super important. Because your body at this point is trying to build blood because you're losing copious amounts of blood, right? And so try to eat foods that are blood builders. Okay, so now we're going into the second phase, which is the follicular phase, days 6 through 12. Again, ladies, this is different for everyone. I'm just giving you those days so you can kind of gauge it. So what's happening during this phase is your estrogen is rising, your progesterone is low, and your body becomes more anabolic. So building muscle tissue. It builds muscle quicker during this phase. So here's what to expect. Energy increases, motivation, better recovery, and mentally you're clearer, more optimistic, and driven. So during this time, it's a really good time to lift heavy, progressive overload, high volume, strength and power peak during this time, right? So this is the time where you're feeling like a badass at the gym, right? It's those times where clients are like, I don't know, I could just lift, 10 more pounds. That happens to me during this phase. It's crazy, the swings that I have. And now that I've come to this understanding, I'm like, that's why, because I'm a girl and I have 85 different phases in 1 month.
But again, an opportunity to maximize that.
Oh, for sure.
When you know it, and because it's so easy to just kind of get in that mentality of, well, I bench X amount, right? Whatever it is. And so that's what I'm going to go and do. And then sometimes it's like, oh, this feels a little easier, like you're talking about. Well,
Push it.
Push that. Yeah,
Yeah.
jump on that. Throw more weight on there.
Yeah, this is the time after your period when you're more anabolic, right? You're able to build muscle easier. So push that phase. So nutrition. Your body handles carbs better during this time. So push the carbs. And I don't, I'm not talking potato chips, people. I'm not talking bread. I'm talking yams, potatoes, oats, all of those good things. If you're going to push calories and carbs, this would be a really good time because in order to build muscle tissue, what do you need, Clint?
Fuel.
Yeah, you got to fuel the body. You can't be eating 1,200 calories and expect to build muscle. That's just, unless it's just like an endless steak. I don't know.
I don't even know then because you're still, if you're running at a calorie deficit, your body's got to get it from somewhere.
Yeah.
And naturally, it's going to get it from muscle first because it wants to get rid of muscle.
Because
One
it's
of the
more calorically
cruelties
expensive.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's like the worst part of going into a cut is like, okay, now I'm going to lose muscle mass. And there's a sweet spot in there, but it's so hard to find.
And should clarify because we're, half joking when we're talking about that. You will also lose fat.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like you're only losing muscle
Yeah.
mass, but it tends to kind of all go together.
Yeah.
So
And it's a small amount, but when, but now we're getting off track.
we are.
Now we
Yeah.
need to talk about ovulation,
Yes.
Clint. All right.
Please.
Hey, quick pause. If this episode is hitting you and you're ready for real tools, here's what we built.
Head on over to cjelevatedlife.com, pick up the Rebuilt Method for men or
Whoa.
the Rebuilt Method for women, just $67 each. We also created the Parasite Detox Blueprint at $37. And this is actually the exact protocol we use ourselves.
And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the weekly action steps and new tools we've tested ourselves. Let's get back to the episode.
So can you jump in with ovulation?
Yes, ovulation is days 13 through 15.
So it's a very short window, very short window. So let's talk about what's happening here. Your estrogen peaks, your testosterone spikes. So this is your peak performance window. So what to expect: highest energy, best coordination, explosive power, and confidence. That makes perfect sense to me as, what ovulation is for. It's prime for procreation, right? So your confidence is going to be off the hook and you're going to be, oh, yes, I am woman. I want to procreate. Or you don't because you live on this planet. You're like, no thanks. This is the best time for your max lifts and your PRs. I did not know this. I find this fascinating. So if you can time this out right, ladies, I mean, what an awesome thing. You've got 3 days to get a max, right? If you're someone who's maxing or PRing, right?
And even if you're not thinking about it like in the full on, I'm going to push myself to max to really get to that edge of, where I can't even do one rep. It's still a great opportunity to be like, hey, I've wanted to deadlift 135 pounds.
Yeah.
And I haven't got there yet. Let's go for it right now.
Yeah.
That might not even be your max, but just thinking about, I want to hit some new goals and hit some, if you're looking at numbers and targets and that kind of thing, this is a perfect opportunity to do that.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, that's very true. All right, so nutritionally, protein, antioxidants, hydration, berries, electrolytes. This is also, the days where you don't want to undereat. It's weird because that seems to be a reoccurring thing in this. As, I've done some studying on this. It's like, don't undereat. But what have women done chronically for decades? Undereat. And that's a whole separate podcast as to why we've been told that we need to undereat, but we're not doing that now. Okay, so now we're going into the luteal phase, which is days 16 through 28. This is broken up into two parts, early and late. So early is 16 to 21 days. What's happening is your progesterone is rising, your body temps are up, and your recovery shifts. So you still have decent strength, but you have a slight drop in intensity tolerance, more fatigue with volume. So moderate loads, slightly lower volume, and longer rest periods. Like, it's funny because there are times, and now that I'm just coming to this knowledge, there are times where I need longer rest periods. It's insane. Like, most of the time it's like, oh no, I'm good with a minute. And then now that I'm going to track this, it'll be interesting to see if, it's during this phase, because, I have no idea, but I'm starting to track this because there are other times where I'm like, I need 3 minutes. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. So longer rest periods during that 16 to 21 luteal phase. So the late luteal is days 22 to 28. So your estrogen is going down, your progesterone is going down, you're very sensitive to stress, cortisol, and your serotonin is down, and your performance can dip here, especially under high loads, right? So this is the PMS phase right here. And so when we talk about you being very sensitive to stress, this is I have PMS. So any kind of, outside frustration is going to, make me lash out or this is why. It's because your body is naturally more sensitive to those stressors. So if you know that, try to set up your life. That's what Elevated Life is all about. Set up your life to where you're not having an insane amount of outside stressors. Let's talk nutrition with this. So during this time, your metabolism actually speeds up slightly. So you know how you go through those phases, ladies, right before your period where you are just freaking ravenous and you're like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? I'm going to gain like 50 pounds on my period. It's because your metabolism is picking up. So what I want you to focus on is healthy carbs and fats, right? Really, and proteins, really satiating whole foods, because then you still might have a little bit of a craving, but then it's not like I'm going to sit down and eat the entire chocolate cake. I'm going to be able to have a black bean brownie and be, completely cool with it because I have my fats and my carbs and my proteins taken care of. Are you, Clint's just nodding. Do you have anything to say?
I have questions.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just more in general.
Okay.
So if you want to wrap this part of it up.
Okay, and then you want to ask.
Because I have one overarching question that I'm really curious about.
Okay, well, let's see. I just want to finish off this part by saying that cravings aren't weakness. It isn't what's wrong with me. It's that your body is needing support. And so when you go into the starvation because you're so worried about your macros, what does the body do? Clint, you know what happens when the body goes into starvation? It holds on to fat. It thinks it's starving, right? So support your body. It's okay to eat differently. You're not a man. So chicken and rice every day through all these phases of your cycle are not going to be satiating to you. It just isn't going to happen. So,
in fairness, I would say that's not satiating to a man either.
Right. But I'm just saying that because of when you listen to all these different phases and how the hormones are shifting and changing constantly, and cortisol and serotonin, I mean, there's so many different moving factors. You can't just expect to be all the time. That's not how you were designed. It is not how you were designed. So support yourself through each one of these phases, not just with how you work out and your expectations, because I know it can be devastating, for some women when they're like, oh, I was feeling good. And then I went to the gym and I could barely pick up a 10-pound dumbbell. It felt like it was, 50 pounds. That's happened to me. Mm-hmm. And now I know why, right? It's not just something that I'm making up in my head because I'm crazy. Do you guys hear the birds outside the window? They want to talk to us.
Going crazy.
Our birds love us. So anyway, what was your question?
A couple things, and then I'll get to the question. Maybe just to reiterate a little bit, or my understanding of what you just said, really what we're talking about here is how to optimize somebody that's already quote unquote doing the right things.
Yeah.
It's just, here, hey, listen to your body,
Right.
of course, but when you're in this phase, maybe you need a little bit more carbs or more, healthy fats type
Right.
thing, and experiment with it.
Yes.
And so, hey, yeah, I ate that stuff and I did feel a little bit better. So now I know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of the guidance. I'm trying to think of this with my personal trainer hat on. Mm-hmm. And so, if I had a woman who I'm training and they came to me and said, okay, I want to cut. Mm-hmm. Because one of the themes with nutrition throughout all of these different phases was do not underfuel. Mm-hmm. So where do you cut?
I would say before I put any woman on a cut, I'm reverse dieting.
Well, okay.
Right? So, okay,
we're to
fine.
that point. Yeah.
We've already reverse
We've reverse dieted. It's time for the cut.
I would say the best time to do that would be in the follicular phase, right after the period, so that you can push through there. Like that's the big, they're feeling strong, powerful. And then you adjust slightly because it's not like your metabolism kicks up to the point where you're able to eat 500 extra calories. Mm-hmm. It's like 100 to 300 calories. I mean, obviously these measurements are going to be different for everyone. And if you've trashed your metabolism, then it's
Right.
not going anywhere. But I would start in that second phase for sure.
Hey friends, if you're getting something out of this, connect with us on our social media platforms. We're at CJ Elevated Life _ on Instagram and TikTok, and CJ Elevated Life on Facebook and X. We're answering DMs, sharing daily content, and building community with people ready for real transformation. For now, hit subscribe wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We drop 2 new episodes every week. And if this episode resonates, share it. That's how we reach more people who are ready for change. You can also find everything at cjelevatedlife.com. All right, let's keep going.
And then really, really having the understanding that it's going to be it's always a process, but it's really going to be a process because it might be, hey, we might be just doing like a 1 week cut or a 2 week cut.
I would still
versus
continue that cut, through. But as you know, because you've trained women and you're with me, men tend to lose weight a little bit more. If you're watching on YouTube, down, 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 down. Maybe they have a little plateau. Women do this, right? They go up and down, and it's like, and in my opinion, I have zero data to back this up. This is just something that is coming to me intuitively. I believe that has everything to do with the cycles. Mm-hmm. So use that time, that follicular phase to, cut away, right? I mean, honestly, like use that time.
I think you really got to the point that I was trying to make with what you just said. With it being, cycles within cycles within cycles with what we're talking about, but having the understanding going into it that yeah, this is going to be a little bit of an up and down journey. And I just got to maximize where I can and not just say, fuck this. I'm cutting out 1,000 calories for 6 months and we'll see what happens. Not only does that do all the damage that we talk about all the time, but it also could potentially impact or will impact your hormone level during your 28-day cycle.
Totally. Yeah. And we've talked about how weight loss is up and down. And now after learning this for women, this, in my opinion, again, I have zero data to back it, except for everything that I just rattled off to you, is the reason why this happens. We think it's just going to be this constant weight loss or constant muscle gain or constant feeling the same all the time and being completely motivated like we are in our second phase. And then we come down back to our first phase and we're like, I don't care if I ever see the gym again. It's just understanding, like having the understanding of why you're feeling the way that you are and that it's fleeting. Because it has to do with your hormones, it has to do with the moon, it has to do with where you are in your cycle. If you understand that, then you get the power, right? And you can learn how to fuel yourself and exercise for maximum benefit within each one of these phases. Remember, again, that every woman is different. And we're not even talking about perimenopause or menopausal women, which I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing about menopause and perimenopause because it's like this big fucking thing now. And I'm like, I have my opinions on the whole thing, but that'll be for a different podcast.
We also didn't really get much into the the psychology, the emotion, all that stuff of
the spiritual
all these
side.
different phases. And I mean, with intention.
Yeah.
That was not what this podcast was intended to be. But I'm thinking about how it can impact relationships as well. And so even at the level that we just talked about today, from a man's perspective on things, understanding how you can be the support that the women in your life need in these different phases. That doesn't mean you got to figure out every woman that you're around, like, oh, you're in the follicular phase or whatever,
Or you could.
I mean, good luck.
You want to get smacked.
But especially, a significant other.
Right.
And just understanding, all right, there's going to be times where they're fired up, ready to go, and let's get after it. And then there's going to be times, and it's not necessarily on their period, where things are going to not be as motivational, let's say, for them. And adjust accordingly.
Yeah. Because it's a woman's biology. They're not making it up. I believe that it's amplified based on how you treat your body, but they're not making it up. And I guess that's the biggest point that I want to get across to men. It's not something that's made up. It really is happening to them. Their hormones are doing this constantly. And women, we can learn to work with our hormones and with our body and fuel our body appropriately and train our body appropriately and rest our body appropriately or not. But then you're just fighting against yourself constantly. And that ain't fun. Like, that's not a good place to be
Or
in.
beneficial.
No, at all. I mean, I want to optimize woman jhana, as much as I possibly can, which is why, I looked into this and I'm going to continue to look into this because, like Clint said earlier, this affects everything with women. We're just talking diet-ish and how to train. We will be doing podcasts in the future when we talk about when you're most creative, when you're most intuitive, when you most need to be alone. If you know these things about yourself, number one, you're getting to know yourself better. That's exciting. and you can work with your superpowers as a woman. These are just things that we're not taught. It's so frustrating. Like, and maybe they were, and I just wasn't paying attention in 6th grade because I was more like, oh my gosh, we're going to talk about penises and vaginas and how they fit together. This is freaking me out. All right. So thank you for listening. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you need to re-listen to this podcast and grab a pen, or just go and Google, read some books and figure it out for yourself, start tracking. If you're on YouTube, you can see that I am starting to track my phases so that I train appropriately. And nutritionally, I'm pretty much an intuitive eater. I know when I was reading through this, I'm like, this is why I crave this during this time more than that. So, but I really just want to encourage you to get to know your body. Just like we talk about getting to know your inner man, get to know your meat suit that your spirit has been shoved into as well. And it'll help you be able to navigate all of the emotions that you're having, or the motivations you are having, or the motivations you are not having. So thank you so much for listening.
And we'll talk to you soon.